And with this next fight, we got Yusaku Kinoshita. He's taking on Adam Fugitt. This is going to be in the welterweight division. And Yusaku Kinoshita, Japanese prospect. This is going to be his first UFC fight. 6-1. One loss was a DQ for grabbing the cage. All of his other wins have been finishes. And that one DQ loss is kind of comical. I mean, he finished the guy with stomps to the face, which was legal stomps while his opponent was on the ground. But he was grabbing the cage while he's doing it, so he got DQ'd. But his last win was a first round knockout on the Contender Series. That was his first fight in the United States. And since then, I've seen that he's stayed over here. He's training at Sanford MMA, or he's been there for a little bit. And that should help him quite a bit, because you do notice that a lot of fighters that come from Japan to the U.S., it didn't factor in for Kinoshita in his first performance, but they tend to struggle with that travel, so it just takes away that factor entirely for him. But Adam Fugitt is set for his second UFC fight, and this time he's in a much more tenable situation. His first UFC fight, he came on short notice against a high-level prospect in Michael Morales and made a decent account of himself. Even in a loss, he was making the fight fairly competitive before he got knocked out in the third round. And at 34 years old, this is his final chance to win in the UFC most likely, and he's in a do-or-die situation here. But Fugitt is a solid fighter. On the feet, he's a southpaw, long, rangy. He's going to have a 6.5-inch reach advantage, and he comes with a lot of blitz attacks. He's good at pressuring. He'll stay in opponents' faces and look for that check hook when they look to back him off. And he's good in exchanges. He can land some nice short shots. His defense leaves a lot to be desired, though. Hittable. He invites wars and can fight not so smart. And throws a lot of volume, keeps the pressure, and hits hard, but that opens him up to be countered. And if a fighter gets tired, then he will take him out. And most of the time, he's finished 7 of his 8 wins inside the distance, but he's got knocked out himself more than once. And for Kinoshita, he's going to be the more dynamic, technical, and powerful striker. Switch stance guy, good footwork movement. He moves in and out of range and can manipulate that distance. And very explosive, accurate. He's quick, powerful. He likes to dart in and out with blitz, switch stance combinations, okay kicks, but primarily pull counters, left hooks, and the blitzes really for Kinoshita. And he does a good job controlling distance. He doesn't get hit too much. This fight, he's facing a super long guy, so we're going to see how he navigates that. He had that same kind of thing in his last fight. He was fighting a real tall fighter, but I feel like Fugitt is a little bit more experienced, a little bit better at using that reach. Kinoshita does get tired. Seems like after the second round of his last fight, he got a little bit gassed, but he, is going to be able to probably bank on getting a lot of first-round finishes if he wins because of his explosiveness and his knockout ability. He has 4 knockouts. And for Fugitt, in terms of grappling, I feel like he's the superior wrestler and grappler in this fight and probably needs to use that. He uses his striking pretty well to position himself for his body locks and can get deep in with the double underhooks with his length. And he's going to want to mix it up and test that wrestling and grappling game of Kinoshita here. Test the gas tank. One thing that Fugitt does have is good cardio. He pushes that pace. And he's not an elite grappler. He doesn't really have that best top control, but I feel like he has the better skills in that department. He does have a few submission victories. And Kinoshita's wrestling is really an unknown. I haven't seen fighters try to take him down in many fights, and I haven't seen him shoot in on anyone to get it to the ground either. He does have some amateur wins by submission. He has one front choke win, one rear naked choke win as a pro, and then all of his amateur wins were armbar finishes. That makes me believe maybe he has good submission skills when fighters take him down, but you can't really say. I mean, it's hard to know what level those opponents are at, how he got those arm bars or anything like that. But the 2 pro fighters that Kinoshita submitted both had losing records in his pro career. And his one loss, like I said, came through DQ, so he's technically undefeated, I would say. But this fight to me is going to play out close unless Fugitt gets knocked out. I just feel like has the better skill set, but for some reason I can't get myself to trust his chin. I've seen too many times him make mistakes, leave his chin exposed. I saw him get knocked out against Kalen Hill, and then once again in his last fight, I've seen him get dropped in some of his other fights. So if this fight goes long and Fugitt can get his pressure and more importantly his wrestling going, he could upset Kinoshita, but I think that Kinoshita is going to be able to get the victory here. I think they need to bring him along slow. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of ring time. He's finished the majority of his fights really early. He's fought a lot of Japanese fighters. He hasn't really faced that many different styles or fighters from different countries. And, this can be the first American, I believe, that he's fighting. So Fugitt could take some shots on the chin early. He could maybe take it down the stretch. But I'm going to say that Kinoshita gets the knockout in the second round here and is successful in his UFC debut.